today our distinguished guest in this lecture series is Sri Vishwas Lapalkar, very senior life worker of Vivekananda Kendra, Kanyakumari, and right now he is Prant Sanghatak of West Bengal, Paschim Bengal. Vishwaji, a warm welcome to you to this today's lecture, and kindly take over the stage now. Thank you.
Namaste to all present in this lecture series online. I consider it my great privilege to be present here and share my thoughts on a very important subject: Up India, conquer the world with your spirituality. Now, this particular phrase is used by Swami Vivekananda while giving a lecture in Triplicane after his return from America. As you all know very well, that Swami Vivekananda traveled all around our country, Bharat Mata, from 1888 to 1892. He was a Parivrajak that time, and it was not a journey only. It was not only a routine moving out of a sannyasi, but it was a pilgrimage of Swami Vivekananda. He was observing very keenly the society, the culture, the dharma, the brutality of Britishers, the society which has gone mad with the casteism, and so many things. In fact, it was his process of learning. He reached Kanyakumari, and then we know very well that for 3 days he sat in a deep meditation at that rock where today Rock Memorial is present. That was 25, 26, and 27 December. And this 3 days meditation has changed Swamiji's life tremendously. At the end of 3 days, he got up with a great willpower and self-confidence and said a very wonderful sentence which can be a key for the development and the progress of our country. He said, sitting on the last bit of this Indian rock, I hit upon a plan, and my plan is to organize people and awaken their dormant spirit. Now here this word spirit which comes is very important, for which we will have references again and again. After that meditation, he went abroad to participate in the Parliament of Religion at Chicago. And we know very well that what happened in Chicago on 11 September specifically. And then next 4 years, he was in America and other European countries to spread knowledge of the Vedantic knowledge of our country, or the wisdom of this particular land. He could understand there by observing the technological and scientific development of the various countries in the Western world. At the same time, the materialism which has been increasing, and because of that competition, that also he observed very clearly. When he tried to compare the two cultures, the Indian culture and the Western culture, he understood that India has a great role to play in the whole world, as the development of scientific and technological development is not there in India, but the spiritual development which is present, that only bring the peace and the harmony over the entire world. In 1897, he came back, and then he started giving lectures. And all these lectures are compiled in a beautiful book called as Colombo to Almora. Starting from Colombo up to Almora, he traveled and created an awareness about our Indian culture or Hindu dharma, and made all people to gird their loins to make free our country. At the same time, take the spiritual knowledge of this country to the other countries. Now, while giving lecture in Triplicane, that is in Madras that time, now we call it Chennai. Uh, in fact, he gave many lectures in Chennai, means Madras. Out of these, three, four lectures are very important. The first lecture which he gave, that was Future of India. The second which lecture was the task before us, the work before us. And the third one was my plan of campaign. These three lectures which were given in Chennai especially to the general public and youth especially. In that, the work before us, what work is given to land, this beautiful land of our country, that he spell out very beautifully. And in that lecture, this phrase comes. He appeals to the modern youth of Chennai or Madras, up India, conquer the world with your spirituality. Ours is a spiritual land. Swami Vivekananda has given different adjectives to this beautiful land of ours, the Bharat Mata. He said it is Jnana Bhumi, Punya Bhumi, Deva Bhumi, Karma Bhumi, and so on. And also he said that each nation has a message to deliver. Each nation has a mission to accomplish. Each nation has a note to contribute in the orchestra of the world. And therefore, we should find out what is the message to be delivered, what is the mission to be accomplished, and what is the note to be contributed. And then he said that spirituality, ours is the spiritual land, and with this spiritual land, we can conquer the world. When we say conquer the world, here we are not going to fight, but by our beautiful tenets of our Vedantic knowledge, we will create an awareness in the entire world in a such a way that there will be peace and harmony. Today, keeping this thing in mind, we are trying to discuss some of the ideas of Swami Vivekananda as well as some of the Vedantic truth and some of the principles of our life. So, up India, conquer the world with your spirituality is a very beautiful phrase coined by Swami Vivekananda. Now, we must understand basically what is the spirituality, what is the Vedantic vision of spirituality, what are the principles of life. And when we look at this, we say that every culture is explained by or reflected by three important things. One is what is the vision of that culture. The second, what are the value systems of that culture. And third, what are the systems which are created to, to fructify the vision of our life. That is value systems. Wow, that is called as systems in life. Now, these three things are very important as far as the life of an individual is concerned. What is the vision of him? What are the values he pursues? And what are the systems they are followed? Now, whole Indian culture, when you look at a glance, we can say there are 16 pillars on which the whole Indian culture is standing from last so many years. The systems, actually these pillars are the systems. The first system is called as the Purusharthas, and there are four Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. These are the four Purusharthas, and each person has to follow this. The Artha and Kama, the desires and the things which are required to fulfill these desires, that is called as Artha. Now, both you must have desires, you must have a message, you must have that system to fulfill the desires, but that must be backed by dharma. The concept of dharma also we'll try to study in our after some time. So the first four pillars are coined as Dharma, Artha, Shastra, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. They are the Purusharthas. The next one, the next four, they are the Ashramas. There are four Ashramas. Each ashram is characterized by some important values. And the four ashramas are Brahmacharya ashram, which is definitely characterized by Sanyama, discipline. Disciplining the body, the mind, the intellect, and everything. So, Brahmacharya ashram, Grihastha ashram, very important. The life where we generate, create a new progeny which can take care after my departure from this world. The Grihastha ashram. Third is Vanaprastha ashram, and the fourth one is Sannyasa ashram. Now, all these four ashramas have their own characteristics. And the third one system, which is there in our culture, we can say that it has the Varna system. In the olden days, thousands and thousands years back, there were Varna based on the karma, what work they are doing, what karma they are doing. Based on that, there were four Varnas. Brahman, who were supposed to study and pass on knowledge to others. Kshatriyas, which are supposed to protect the country, the society, and all these things. Vaishyas, who were good in commerce, and the Kshudras, who were working for the good of the society. So the third system which was followed in our Indian culture was Varna system, where four Varnas are there. And the fourth one is science of yoga. Yoga is a science for the development of your personality, depending on the important things which are given by God to a human being, like the body, the mind, the emotions, and the intellect. These are the four basic things which are given to a human personality, to a man or a woman, and by concentrating one or the other, or by using all. Swamiji's one beautiful sentence is there in this respect as far as yoga is concerned. Swamiji says, each soul is potentially divine. The goal of life is to manifest this divinity by controlling nature, external and internal. Do it either by work, karma yoga, or worship, bhakti yoga, or by psychic control, Raj yoga, or by intellect, philosophy, or by philosophy. So these four methods by which a man can manifest his spirit or he can develop his personality. There are four ways: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. In fact, they are not four watertight compartments. All are interconnected. In fact, whole life is interconnected as such. So these are the four yogas, or we can say the system of yoga. So as I told you, there are four systems which are there to fulfill our vision of life. Now, these four systems, the first, as I told you, Purushartha, four Purushartha. Then next is four Ashramas, four Varnas, and four Yogas. So total 16. These 16, they form a beautiful foundation of our Indian culture. And through these systems, what we can do, the vision of our life, that can be fructified. What is the vision of life? Vision of mine is oneness. Oneness in all. Ekam sat vipraha bauddha vadanti. There is only one truth, but that is seen by or coined by or named by different person in different ways. For example, if we just go to our Vedas, the four Vedas, each Veda has its own sentence we call as Veda Vakyas. Am Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Pragyanam Brahma, like that. So, the vision of life is to see the oneness of the entire creation. Everywhere the same God or Ishvara is present. The same energy is manifested in different forms. That is the vision, and that vision is to be fructified by our individual personality, individual person, by following certain values in life and by following in certain systems in life. So this is exactly what Indian culture try to say. And whole this system, vision, is the total, sum total of all this, we call it as a spirituality. So spirituality is nothing as which can be taken by, it's not a thing which can be, but it is the vision. It is an attitude towards the entire creation. It is said somewhere that this whole world is not chaos, it is a cosmos. Everything has a purpose, everything has a function, everything has a role in this world. There is nothing which do not have any function or role. There is nothing which has which has not purpose. Everything has a purpose. So the whole coinage of this spirituality can be in these few things. Now today, we want to become spiritualized. We want to become spiritual. When Swamiji said, "Up India, conquer the world with your spirituality." What does it mean? What I have to do? How I can proceed on this path? How I can become spiritual in my life? And for that purpose, there are various things which has been mentioned in our country. Now, since everything is nothing but the expression of same truth or Ishvara, we all are interconnected, interdependent, and interrelated. And therefore, my attitude towards everything outside of mine is attitude of acceptance. There is no rejection as such. I am ready to accept everything because everything is nothing but expression of the same truth of which I am also a part. So this system has been carried in our this beautiful land of ours from the very beginning. And our the basic unit of our Indian culture remains to be a small family where all are connected to each other, all are dependent on each other, all are related to each other, and they are ready to sacrifice, do service to every one of us. So that is a beautiful concept of our Indian culture. Now there are two important things, two, three important things which I will like to dilate upon this. There is a very beautiful experience I had. Uh, I was working in Assam that time as a worker of Vivekananda Kendra, and I was given some responsibility for a month to come to Calcutta and work. A specific work was assigned to it. There was a beautiful program, and the chief guest that program was to be Swami Ranganathananda. As you know very well, Swami Ranganathananda ji is called as spiritual ambassador of modern India. He gives beautiful message on Vedanta, Upanishad, and all these things, and he has carried this message all over the world. Throughout his life, he was traveling abroad, and he has carried this message to Islam. Now, I had an opportunity to travel with him. Travel with means our program was in Taliganj area in Kolkata, and Swami Ranganathan ji was staying in Belur Math. So my responsibility was to take him from Belur Math and bring him to Taliganj, and after the program, taking him to Taliganj and take him to Belur Math. That was the responsibility. So I was traveling with him in a car. And then discussion started. He asked me so many questions. And I also asked him a small question with his permission. Here I asked him, Swamiji, in Arunachal Pradesh, Vivekananda Kendra has nearly 11 to 12 schools presently. Well, Ramakrishna Mission, which is a very old organization, has only two. Why you are not having more schools? Why you are not opening more schools in Arunachal Pradesh and in Assam also? Why it is not? And then Swamiji told, we do not have manpower. I said, why? He said, nowadays the young people are not ready to join monkhood. They are not ready to become sannyasis. They are not coming to Ramakrishna Mutt and ready to become worker of Ramakrishna Mutt in the form of sannyasi or monk. I said, why? What is the reason for that? Have you tried to analyze it? And he said, yes. He said, to have one sannyasi in the society, we must have 10,000 Sadgurustas staying at that particular place. Where 10,000 of Sadgurustas stay at one place, from that society, one monk, one sannyasi can come out. Then I said, are we not Sadgurustas? Then he said, no, you are Gurustas, not Sadgurustas. Now this made me to think, what is the difference between Sadgurasta and Gurasta? And then I asked him, Swamiji, what is the difference between Sadgurasta and Gurasta? And then very beautifully we explained the difference between Sadgurasta and Gurasta. He said, Sadgurasta is one who does 5 yajnas daily. Because our Indian culture is a culture of yajna. The Sanskriti, the culture is based on yajna. Yajna is for doing something good for the entire society. That is called as yajna. Every work which we do should be in the form of yajna, for doing good to the others. Unfortunately, presently, in present days, all of us are more concerned about the self-development or selfishness. So he said, yajna are those activities which are good for others, which joins other, which continues to do good for others. And then I asked him, Swamiji, will you please elaborate? And doing these 5 yajnas will take you the spiritual life automatically. Because here, by doing these 5 yajnas, you are on the path of becoming more and more social, peaceful, and harmonious with the society. You start loving the society. And therefore, I will say that when I say up India, conquer the world with spirituality, each one of us should become a spiritual in his life, in his personality, so that he can contribute for making India a spiritual. Now, what are these 5 yajnas? He said, first is the Pitru Yajna. Then he explained to me further that Pitru Yajna means doing service to my parents. Parents' parent means the generation through which I have come to this particular stage of my life. My parents, their parents, all they are responsible for making me, bringing me to this word of God, and because of their samskaras, today I am here in this particular position. So I must pay the debt by doing service to them. I should take care of them. I should not leave them alone. I should take care of them till they are with me. So that is a part of Pitru Yajna. At the same time, Pitru Yajna further extended. Just like my parents have given me samskaras, they have taught me certain things, how to live in the life, how to contribute to the society. Similarly, it is my responsibility that I should also teach. I should also take my students on the same path. I should also teach them how to live in the life. What are the sanskaras which I got? The same sanskaras I should pass on to them. So there is a continuation of parents' journey, parents' generation, my generation, and my next generation. So this connectivity is there through Pitru Yajna. So Pitru Yajna is one important yajnas of five Pancha Yajnas. The second is Bhuta Yajna. Sometimes it is also called as Nara Yajna. But the best possible coinage of the term is Bhuta Yajna. Now you know that when I am living today, there are so many people, so many animals, they are connected with me. In fact, the food which I eat daily, it is because of the pollination which has been brought out by the insects or the butterflies or by the birds or by the animals. So, for my food, they all are responsible. So, all these things, for example, when I am born, when I was born, I was not knowing anything. I was just like an animal. I was not having anything. I do not know, understand anything. I cannot eat my own food. I have to depend on my mother or my relatives. And slowly, as I grow, many people they come in touch with me and they start teaching me the different things. Somebody has taught me how to walk. Somebody has taught me how to drive a cycle. Somebody has taught me how to speak good Marathi. Somebody has taught me how to speak good English. That means the whole society is working for me. Besides society, the human being, the birds are working for me, the animals are working for me. All these things are working, and therefore it is necessary for me to do something for them also to repay what they are doing for me. That is called as Bhuta Yajna. And therefore, service above self is very important. I should take care of animals, and therefore, we know in our olden days, the people used to make arrangement for water for the animals, birds, and like that. So, this is called Bhuta Yajna. In nutshell, I am trying to put before you. The third one is called Deva Yajna. The Deva Yajna means all nature. Nature is considered in our country as Bhagwan or Ishvara. We call the sun as God, moon as God, stars as God. We call trees as God. River we call as God. The mountains we call as God. We know the story of Govardhan in Sri Krishna's life. In river, worship of river is very common. Worship of sea is very common in our country. Worship of sun is common in our country. So all these are considered because without any differentiation, they are continuously working for us. A tree works for everybody. Even if you throw a stone, it gives you fruit only. He never distinguished whether you have given me water for my living or you have thrown stone at me. So these all are gods. They are the expressions of God. And to take care of them, to protect them, it is my duty. That is called as Deva Yajna. So therefore, in my daily life, I should give water to the plants. I should keep river clean. I should not make it dirty. All these things. I should do Surya Namaskar. All these things are nothing but in the terms of Deva Yajna. Everybody should do it. The fourth one is called as Rishi Yajna. Now, Rishi Yajna means what? Now, our culture, Indian culture, is very, very old. I do not know whether I should say 5,000 years, 1,000, 10,000, 15,000. We do not know. It is a very disputable, but it is definitely more than 5,000 years. And this our culture which we are following today, it is given to us by the great rishis who did tapas, who did sadhana, who got this message from the Ishvara, who got these mantras from there, from where Vedas they came, then Upanishads and all these things they came. Now the pearls of wisdom of these rishis out of their tapas and swadhyaya are to be protected. They are to be preserved and they are to be propagated. Today, whatever culture we have, which is called as Vedantic culture or which is called as Hindu Dharma, it is not a creation of you and me, but it was created by great rishis, saints, and sages by working very hard for years together and they have handed over to us. So, protecting this culture, protecting these scriptures, preserving these cultures and propagating this, that is called as Rishi Yajna. And therefore, every day we must spend some time in chanting of Bhagavad Gita or Tulsi Ramcharitra or something of that type, which is created by these great sages and said, or something from Upanishada, something from Aranyaka, or something from Vedas, all these things. Every day this practice should be done by every one of us. That will purify our mind. Not only purify, because of this chanting of these Sanskrit mantras, our tongue also get disciplined, our pronunciations also become more and more clear. So this is called as Rishi Yajna. And the last one is called as Brahma Yajna. Swami Ranganathanandaji was explaining me to the Brahma Yajna, that spark of immortality, the spark of divinity is present in every one of us. And it is our duty, it is necessary for all of us to sit in deep meditation and speak with our own God present within us, to which we in simple words call that meditation. Everyone should give some time for doing meditation every day. Now, when you look at these 5 things which I told you now, the Pitru Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, Deva Yajna, Rishi Yajna, and lastly Brahma Yajna. All they are connecting to the society. When I say I am doing Deva Yajna, that means I am connected with the environment. I am connected with the trees. I am connected with the river. I am connected with the mountains. I am connected with the sea. So my connection and my good wishes for them is there. When I say Bhuta Yajna, I am connected with the society. When I say Pitru Yajna, I am connected with my family, the parents as well as the next generation. When I say Brahma Yajna, I am connected with that consciousness, the universal consciousness to which we call it, or we can call it the divinity. That is the what is. So this connecting is very important. And when I start working for this work come out of my love, my love towards the people around. And when you start doing this, slowly and slowly, your personality becomes more and more spiritual, and that is one way by which we can contribute for what Swamiji has said, that up India, conquer the whatever spirituality. I can contribute. Be and make was the Swami first start first. So this is one aspect of spirituality. The second one important thing is that there are parameters of spirituality. What is spirituality? Can we define it? It is very difficult. By looking at the person, we cannot understand whether he is a spiritual person or not. Because today sometimes we consider that when he puts lot of malas in his neck, or when he puts the horizontal or vertical things on his forehead, or when he does many tapas, vratas and tapas, or he spends lot of time in doing puja, worship, we call him as a spiritual. Actually, that is not the spirituality. They are the rituals only. You are doing it, it are rituals. It may help you to become spiritual in long way. But spirituality, when I say, the parameters which are given in Bhagavad Gita about the spirituality or about spirit, they are the attitude of your mind towards the expression of God or the thing which you see out. What is my attitude towards that? So, this understanding is very important. Not only the attitude, and how is my behavior with that, how I look at that, how I interact with that, that is very important. And therefore, the five parameters, just like there are five yajnas, there are five parameters. And the first parameter is called as samatvam. Samatvam yoga uchyate. It is a phrase in Bhagavad Gita. What is samatvam? Samatvam means equanimity of mind. Mind, which is a very chanchala. Mind gets excited sometimes due to your joy, happiness, winning situation. You get lot of excitement. And sometimes you get depressed. When the things do not happen according to your will, according to your wishes, you get depressed, and in that depressed mood, sometimes you may commit something wrong for your whole for life as well as the family and for the society also. So, to keep this mind in a mental balance, either when it is excited or things which go according to your vision or according to your understanding or not, mind should remain calm, understanding that nothing is permanent, everything is temporary. Joy is not permanent, misery or unhappiness is also not permanent. They will move. Today I am having a joy, tomorrow I may not have it. So under such condition, my mind should ready to accept both the things and keep in a method of equilibrium that is called as samatvam yogochate. So the first parameter of spiritual development in life or personality is nothing but samatvam of mind. Mind should be in a equilibrium, equanimity of mind. It should not get excited, not it should get depressed, but at the both time he should be in a position to understand that this is not permanent, this is not personal, both things are temporary, therefore I should not get excited nor I should get depressed. That is the first parameter of what we can call as the spirituality. The second parameter is called as santosha. Santosh means contentment. Unfortunately, today's world, we are not contented with what we have. We are always trying to get what we do not have. In that process, we become more and more unhappy. So he said, God has given you what you deserve. God will not give you what you desire. You may desire something, but for getting that thing, you must deserve it. And God is the only agency which can understand what you deserve in your life. Therefore, contentment, whatever today I have, by the grace of God or by the work which I have done because of that, I should be happy with that. Happiness is not outside. Happiness is in the mind. It is mind of an individual. How I look at the thing, that is important. So this santosha plays a very important role. Unfortunately, today we are not having this contentment at any stage. Sometimes by jokingly, I talk to some of the people whenever I take a class or like that. I say that today's man is suffering by cancer of C. There is a cancer of C. And what is that cancer of C? C stands for competition. There is always competition. What he has and what I have, there is a competition. There is a comparison and there is a criticism. These three C's are prevalent in every human being. And our attitude of mind is to compare, compete, and criticize. We are not happy with what we have. So the second parameter says that be happy with what we have, content. I have whatever my height is there, whatever my color is there, whatever I have. I should be grateful to the God, be happy what we have. I should not compete myself with others. I should not compare myself with others, nor I should criticize with anybody. So second important parameter is called as santosham. The first is called samatvam, second is called as santosham. The third one is called as sarva samaveshakata. That is loving all the people, irrespective of their caste and community and all it, taking all people together, hand in hand will go forward. We will not complain about anybody. As Swamiji has said in America, they were no way they were related to him, but he said, sisters and brothers of my America. When we say that he is my brother or she is my sister, immediately the beautiful bond of love is there. And when there is a love, there are two automatically things come out of this love, that is called sacrifice and service attitude. So when Swamiji said brothers and sisters of America, his love was expressed by that thing. And not only love was expressed by thing, he was ready to sacrifice for them. He was ready to serve them. So the beautiful Sarva Samaveshakata, everything is nothing but the expression of some same God, and therefore I should love everybody and take every one of them with me. That is what called as Sarva Samaveshakata. When this Sarva Samaveshakata is there, you will start looking at everything with that beautiful eyes that nothing, everything is nothing but God. And when we think that everything is God, my attitude towards God will be always a very positive attitude, no doubt about that. So the third parameter is Sarva Samaveshakata. That is very important. So the first, as I told you, it is Samatvam, second is Santosham, third is Sarva Samaveshakata, taking all people together. And the fourth parameter of spirituality, we can say that it is called Sanyama. Sanyama means control. Control of our body, the control of our organs of action and organs of knowledge. Jnanendriya and Karmendriya. Control over that, Sanyama. Not only control of the body, but mind. Because mind is a creator of thoughts, the positive and the negative. Both types of thoughts are always created in the mind. So we must have control over the mind. Which type of thoughts are allowed to come into the mind? Which thoughts are to be rejected by the mind? This control, Sanyama, is very much required. Whether thought should come to your mind or not, may not be in our hand. But which thought we should allow to work on, that is definitely in our hand. That is called Sanyama. So not only the body, but mind. The third one is emotions. Emotions are also a part of a human being. And these emotions are to be controlled, Sanyam. Because sometimes it happens, something which happens which is not of our choice, we start crying, we start shouting, we become angry. We express all our feelings possibly. But everything will not happen according to your wish, never. And therefore, having a control over feeling is very important. And also the intellect. Intellect should not go in the wrong way. We know if intellect is not controlled, it can go in wrong way. We know very good example of Osama bin Laden. Very intelligent he was. He could plan it to the minute details, but it was not in the interest of the entire society. So this Sanyama over our four important things which we have, the body, the mind, the intellect and the feelings, emotions, they are Sanyama is required. Now, when you look at these four, the first, as I told you, samatvam, the second, santosham, third, sarva samaveshakata, the fourth one, sanyama, all these are attributes of your mind. So they are all related with the culturing of your mind. And culturing of mind only will lead you to a spiritual personality. And the last parameter of spirituality, we can say, is the service attitude. The body is given for serving others, not for our own self, but how I can use my time for the good of the society, because they all are contributed for my good self. And therefore, I must work in such a way that my life become a purposeful life. My life is full of renunciation. My life is full of service. And how that service there? Service to man is service to God. Like that. Not only service to man, service to plant is also like the service to God. Can we go to that extent? One of our worker in Kanyakumari, she used to love the plants in a such a way that she used to go when she was going on travel for journey, somebody going for 8 days, 10 days, 15 days, she will go to each and every plant to whom she used to give water every day. She used to spend some time and will tell them that I am going out for such and such work. For 7 days I will not be here. I will come afterwards. I will ask such and such person to give you water and all these things. She will talk. That's that service. That service, that considering that it is nothing but the expression of God, and the duty which I was doing to plant was not duty to plant, but the God is present in that. That type of attitude of service is important. So, service is the reflection of how your mind thinks of. And therefore, this service is equally important in the spiritual path of development. So, these five things which I have talked to you now, just now, that samatvam, santosham, sarva samaveshakata, sanyama, and service, all starting from S. They are equally important as we have seen the yajnas, they are equally important. So, when a human being who wants to develop his personality as a spiritual person, definitely he can go to the temple, he can do some rituals, he can do japa, tapa, all these things. But definitely, more importantly, that how he cultures his mind, how he looks at the society, how he looks at the nature, how he looks at the God himself, and not only look, how he serves them. That is very, very important. So when we say spiritual development, it is not the development at the body level, but it is at the attitudinal level. And when Swamiji say, up India, conquer the world with your spirituality, that means each and every one of us will have to culture our mind and start serving the society with that idea that everywhere God is present. Nothing is other than God. Everything is God. That we call that Ekam Sat Vipraha Bauddha Vadanti. There is only one truth. God is present everywhere. That tremendous consciousness is expressed at some places. At some places it is not expressed or manifested, but it is there. There is a God in a stone, God in a tree, God in a river, God in a man. Everywhere God is present, whether living and non living. And my approach towards everything is very beautifully. One book has come up. I think you must have read it probably, and that book is You Are Born to Blossom. That book is written by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. While talking about so many things, he said that if you want to develop your personality as a spiritual personality, at least three things you should do every day. At least 3 days, at least. Minimum 3 days. And what are these 3 things? They are nothing but the essence of what I talked to you about Panchayajnas, or the otherwise we can say the parameters of this one. Now what he said? He said at least, at least devote 15 to 20 minutes to half an hour to read your scriptures, to understand your scriptures, to whichever religion you belong. You read that. That is the scriptures from our own culture. Just like Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, whatever is there, you spend at least half an hour to read and to understand the meaning of that. That will help us to cultivate, to culture your mind. Number one thing he told. The second thing which he told is that at least sit for 15 minutes alone without any disturbance. Close your eyes, go within, start inward journey. All the time our eyes are open. And when eyes are open, they only find the differences. But find out the unity in this diversity. Close your eyes, go within, and see the God present within you. Because that spark of divinity is present in you itself, to which we call as Brahma Yajna. So he said that at least half an hour, 15 minutes to half an hour, you should sit in meditation per day. Going within, that is very important. Keeping your eyes, that is very important. The second thing he said. And the third thing which he said, that at least do one service activities per day, at least minimum, where you do not have any selfish interest. We do so many things in a day, but everything we are having some interest in that. If I do this, I will get this. If I do this, I will get this. If I do this today, I may not get anything. After some time, I will get it. So with this interest of getting something out of that, we do service to people sometimes. My name should come in the paper. My photograph should come in this way. This is what is normal. It happens. He says, Dr. Abdul Kalam says, at least one service activities which you do, which will not have any selfish interest. If you do that, that 3 things will help you to grow your personality, or you develop your personality in a spiritual personality. So in the sum total of this, when Swami Vivekananda said, up India, conquer the world with your spirituality. If at all we want to conquer the world, each and every person of ours should become spiritual in his life. And when I say spiritual in his life, is definitely that developing this attitude of your mind, where we will have samatvam, santosham, sarva samaveshakata, and then sanyama and seva. This thing should be there in Delhi. And these 5 yajnas, which are connecting you with the previous generation and the next generation, with the nature outside and nature within. The culture, the proponents of culture, the great rishis, we are connected with them. When I chant the Upanishad, then I understand this Upanishad is between such and such person, such and such person. So I remember those rishis. There are galaxies of rishis. I do not remember all of them. But when I chant some mantras, just like Ishavasya Vidam Sarvam, Yat Kincha Jagatyan Jagat, comes from Ishavasya Upanishad. So who is the propounder of that? Who gave this beautiful knowledge? I am connected with that. So in this way, we can develop our personality. And then I told you the understanding, the vision of us. What is the vision of my life? I am the spark of divinity, and the purpose of my life is to become divine. Aurobindo Maharshi says in a simple word, he said, when you are born, you are animal man. Work in such a way that slowly you go up from animal man to man to superman, and superman to divine man. So, in this way, everyone should try to grow inward. Inward growing is developing spirituality. Outward growing is not. Outward, it is not important. How your mind works, that is very important. What is your attitude towards the society, your culture, that is very important. And we must do this. In India, fortunately, all things which I have discussed so far with you, they are present in every one of us from the very birth. And because of these sanskaras which are there in our family life, we are slowly carrying all these tenets. Gently we are carrying without knowledge. But if we start understanding it, the clarity will still more. And thus we will understand what is the spirituality and how I can become spiritual in my life and how I can contribute to make my country a spiritual one. There is a beautiful article which has come. If time permits, you should go through that Dialogues with Nandi. A very beautiful article. If you go through that, then you will understand what is the role of India. How the person who is born in India is basically having a spiritual spark. Basically having a spark. Only by our self efforts, we should develop it in a such a way that our whole personality becomes spiritual. The spiritual person will always have a smile on his face. He will always work with the attitude that I am serving the God, whatever he does. His speech will be always loving speech. He will never become angry. All these tenets will be manifested by your behavior. I think in nutshell, I have tried to put my ideas in front of you in connection with what Swamiji has said that up India, when he say up India, it is appeal to every Indian who is born in this beautiful land of Bharat Mata, which is a spiritual land, which is a Deva Bhumi, which is a Punya Bhumi, which is a Karma Bhumi, which is a Rushi Bhumi, which is a Jnana Bhumi. All these things are there. We are so fortunate that we are born in such a beautiful land. And therefore, our duty is, our responsibility is to take this wisdom of this land, which is a spiritual wisdom, and carry it to the entire world so that the entire world will be in peace and harmony in times to come. Thank you very much for giving a patient hearing to me. Thank you. Dhanyavad.